Yeah, last year I remember we had made fun of actually dozing off in the auction. We had our director come in 10 days earlier. I joined him and we've been hashing it out. Unfortunately, Kato is not here in person but has joined us virtually. It's good that all the departments, from the coaching department, the scouting department, the analytical department, we've all married in all our thoughts together and we've triangulated it, and hopefully we end up with the ideal people for RCB.
Yeah, look, Simon and myself have. I mean, we talk regularly and we gather thoughts, and I think the thing with Virat is we have those discussions, but he also understands auction dynamics of when people come up. Obviously have flow-on effects, so it's not like you can categorically say this is what we want, because things change. But yeah, he's very much involved in those discussions.
My experience of not just cricket but even business is that data is meant to be a tool to help you make a better decision. Data doesn't take the decision for you. And I think I've also seen times and occasions when we become victims of the data and we lose the ability to use the wisdom of management judgment in that decision. So I'd like to say that it is stupid to have no data and only take a decision based on gut. It is also stupid to allow data alone to take the decision, because we're dealing with people here, right? And in cricket, people have a good day and a bad day. And sometimes you just have to bet on people based on what you see of them. So I'd like to say that 70% data and the balance management judgment, where data is a support to your decision. It is not the decision.
Often there'll be a number of players, we potentially think we know who they are, who will be in high demand, but auctions aren't, they're so flexible, you've got to be able to move with the punches a little bit. We think that certain players will be in high demand, 2 or 3 or 4 teams will go for the same one, but it might not be the case. We might find we have players that other teams don't want, vice versa. So we've done 5 or 6 mock auctions. We'll do at least another couple. Everyone's slightly different, but there's also trends. And by doing those and finding out the trends, it gives us some pretty clear information around where sides are looking to go.
See, finally you have to end this auction with a playing 11 squad that you are comfortable with. And that goes for the other teams as well, right? Now, everyone knows who's trying to fill what kind of a gap. And I think the reality is there will be some crunch situations where there will be literally a playoff of some players, right, at the auction. And I think that's where I think one has to have both the courage to go for the people you really believe in, or indeed dynamically change your strategy if you lose a player that you really wanted. Dynamically adapt. So you must have done enough homework, because there you don't have time, right? You have to be clear that, okay, if plan A has not worked, then what's my plan B? And I think that's what's going to happen. So there will be a bit of stress. Everyone finally will end up, I think, with an 11 that they are reasonably happy with. And I'm hopeful that we also will be.
Our motto is play bold in terms of how we want to play, and we know last year there were times where we did and there were times where we were a little bit passive. So, we want to play a brand of cricket that RCB fans, want to follow.
In our process of scouting, we try to give as much information to the management from a cricketing perspective, how the person behaves, and we try to give a lot of information. And the scouting profile so much says that, these are his strengths, these are his weaknesses, these are the technical problems, these are his strengths from a technique perspective. He's tactically good. We try to answer almost all questions possible, and that's obviously based on our scouting done the last 24 to 12 months, and we keep increasing data on it as and when we see the cricketers. So like you said, we are on ground here, and unfortunately, even though they aren't, they follow domestic cricket rigorously, and we give context to those numbers. Whatever numbers they see, we try to give as much context as possible when it comes to the cricketing side of it. And like I said, we don't stop the buck to that. We try to push the envelope a little bit further and giving vital information about how the individual reacts, who the individual is, his background, and things like that.
See, the point is, it's not just this season, even last season. For example, even when we select a net bowler, we keep that in mind. It's not just he's coming and bowling during the season for that season. We look at the potential and groom him, and he also gets an exposure. So that is also that talent ID pipeline which we have. So we're not looking at here and now from this IPL or a previous IPL, but it's a continuous process. It's a journey, and we clearly have a process in place currently, which is really robust enough to identify good talent from not just uncapped players, but even rookies which are in hinterland of India.